My twin told everyone I cheated on my college entrance exams because I got accepted to my dream school, and she didn't. So I did this, and she's been blocked by our entire family. My female 18, identical twin sister, female 18, told our family I cheated to get into Yale, and now they're investigating me. Throwaway, because my sister knows my main account, and I don't want to make things worse. Sorry for the long post, but I'm literally shaking as I type this, and I just need to get everything out. So I guess I should start by saying that my twin sister Kristen and I have always had this complicated relationship. We used to be super close when we were little, like finishing each other's sentences and having our own twin language and all that stuff. But things started to change when we hit high school. We just kind of went in different directions, you know? I got really focused on academics, and she got more into the social scene, which was totally fine. I never judged her for that or anything. Some background. Our grandfather was a Yale alum, and he always talked about how much he loved it there. He passed away 4 years ago and left each of us a small college fund with a note saying he hoped we might consider his alma mater someday. It wasn't like a requirement or anything, but I knew it would have made him happy. I've basically been preparing for college apps since sophomore year. Not to sound like I'm bragging, I swear I'm not, but I maintained a 4.0 GPA, joined a bunch of relevant clubs, and spent practically every weekend on SAT prep. Meanwhile, Kristen focused way more on her social life, which again, totally fine. Different priorities. Our parents have always been super careful about not playing favorites, sometimes even going overboard, like celebrating Kristen's B's with the same enthusiasm as my A+. For the SATs, I was honestly obsessive about it. I woke up at 5 a.m. every day for like 6 months to study before school. I used my babysitting money to hire this tutor, and I offered to split the sessions with Kristen multiple times, but she always said no. I took 12 practice tests. Not exaggerating. I have the notebooks to prove it. Anyway, I ended up scoring a 1580, which I was obviously thrilled about. Kristen got a 1410, which is still really good. Like, that's an excellent score that would get her into most schools. We both applied to Yale and 5 other schools. I got accepted to Yale with a pretty substantial scholarship, and Kristen got rejected. When the letters came, it was so awkward. I saw the Yale acceptance and screamed. I ran downstairs to tell my parents, and they were super excited. Then Kristen came down asking what happened, and my parents told her I got into Yale. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes, and said, "Oh, congrats," in this really stiff voice. She immediately checked her email on her phone, and her face just fell. She said Yale was overrated anyway, and when I tried to say something nice, she just went to her room for the entire day. Later, my parents told me to tone down my excitement because it might hurt Kristen's feelings, which I get, I guess. But also, it felt really unfair that I couldn't even be happy about something I worked so hard for. Fast forward to our graduation party 2 weeks ago. Things had been tense but manageable at home, but at the party I started noticing family members acting weird around me. My Aunt Gail asked if I was really going to Yale with this strange emphasis. Uncle Fred made some comment about honest hard work while looking at me weird, and my cousin Spencer, who I'm usually close with, was totally avoiding me. I was so confused. Like, what was happening? Then I overheard my grandma telling my mom's cousin that it was such a shame about me cheating, and how poor Kristen was just heartbroken about the whole thing. I couldn't breathe. I found Kristen by the food table and asked her what she'd been telling people about me. She wouldn't look at me and just shrugged, saying she was telling the truth. When I asked what truth, she said everyone knows I couldn't have gotten that SAT score honestly and that it wasn't possible. She told me everyone knows I cheated because I'm not that smart. Then she just walked away. I was in shock the rest of the party. My own twin telling everyone I cheated. When she knows how hard I worked, I've never cheated on anything in my life. I'm the person who feels guilty if I accidentally see someone else's answers during a test. And then, 3 days ago, I got an email from Yale's admissions office. They said they received an anonymous tip claiming I cheated on my SATs and falsified parts of my application. They're conducting an investigation, and my acceptance and scholarship are basically on hold until it's resolved. I know it was Kristen. It had to be. My own sister is trying to destroy my future because she's jealous. I haven't confronted her about the email yet because I'm afraid I'll completely lose it if I do. Our parents don't know about the investigation either because I'm too ashamed to tell them. I don't know what to do. How do I prove I didn't cheat? How do I fix this? Yale was my dream school, and my grandfather would have been so proud. and now my own twin is trying to take it away from me. I never thought she could be this cruel. Edit. A lot of people are asking why I think it was definitely Kristen who sent the anonymous tip. Besides the obvious, who else would it be? The email mentioned specific things about my study habits that only someone living with me would know. It questioned how someone could improve so dramatically on practice tests without outside help. Kristen is literally the only person who saw my practice test scores improving over time. Edit 2. To the people saying I should have been more sensitive about getting into Yale when she didn't, I tried. I barely mentioned Yale at home after that first day. I didn't even put up any Yale stuff in my room because I knew it would upset her. I even told her that her 1410 was an amazing score that would get her into great schools, which it did. She got into 3 of her 5 choices. Edit 3. For those asking about my parents, they don't play favorites, but they do try really hard to make sure Kristen doesn't feel bad about herself. Like if I get an award, they make sure to point out something great about Kristen too. I get why they do it, but sometimes it feels like I can't ever just have my moment, you know? Edit 4. Yes, I've saved all my study materials, practice tests, notes from tutoring sessions, etc. I'm planning to submit all of that to Yale as evidence. But it's scary because how do you prove you didn't cheat? It's like proving a negative. Now for the first update. So a lot has happened since my last post, and honestly I don't even know where to start. First, thank you so much to everyone who commented and offered advice. I was literally just freaking out when I wrote that and didn't expect so many people to respond. The Yale investigation has gotten way more intense. They sent me this super detailed email asking for like everything. Study notes, SAT prep materials, documentation of my study methodology, whatever that means. And basically anything that could prove I didn't cheat. It's like I'm guilty until proven innocent, which is just great. I've been going kind of crazy gathering everything I could think of to defend myself. Like I dug out all my study schedules going back to junior year. I color-coded everything and dated all my notes because I'm that kind of person. I found receipts from all 18 tutoring sessions I paid for with my babysitting money. I even made this spreadsheet showing how my practice test scores improved over time, from 1390 on my first practice test to 1550 on my last one before the actual SAT. I also reached out to my study group from last year, and 3 of them wrote these really nice emails about how I was always the one pushing everyone to study more. One of them even mentioned how I would get to the library an hour before everyone else just to get extra practice in. I also found all these old texts and emails where I literally begged Kristen to study with me, and she always had some excuse. Like, I have proof I tried to help her. But here's where things get really messed up. I was gathering all this evidence on my laptop when I noticed something weird in my browser history. There were visits to my Yale student portal and my email account on days when I know I wasn't on the computer. Our family has this desktop in the living room that automatically logs into my accounts because I checked that stupid Remember Me box, never doing that again. So I did some digging and found out someone deleted a bunch of emails from Yale about orientation and housing assignments. And it had to be Kristen. My parents wouldn't do that, and nobody else uses that computer. Home is basically a war zone now. My parents are trying to act all neutral, and it's driving me insane. Like, how can you be neutral when one of your daughters is literally trying to destroy the other one's future? The extended family has picked sides, though. Aunt Gail and Uncle Fred are 100% Team Kristen. They keep making these little comments about the truth coming out eventually whenever I'm around. Meanwhile, Cousin Spencer finally told me he was avoiding me at the party because he felt awkward, but he doesn't actually believe I cheated. And Grandma Sally called me privately to say she knows how hard I've always worked, and she doesn't believe this nonsense for a second. We had this awful dinner last night. Dad said how proud he is of both his daughters. Classic dad move. Can't compliment one of us without immediately complimenting the other. Then Kristen said something about being happy she earned everything honestly while staring right at me. I couldn't take it anymore and asked her to stop with the cheating accusations. Mom tried changing the subject to summer plans. Then Kristen said she would have had different summer plans if she hadn't been cheated out of Yale. I asked her exactly what she thought I did and how I cheated. Dad told us both to calm down, and I asked my parents if they believed I cheated. They just said they're sure things will work out. Not, of course we don't think you cheated, or anything supportive, just some vague comment about things working out. I left the table crying while Kristen just sat there with this little smirk on her face. I hate that I let her see me cry. Oh, and I found Kristen's diary yesterday. I wasn't snooping. I was looking for my journal, which is almost identical. We got matching ones for our 16th birthday, and grabbed the wrong one by mistake. When I realized it was hers, I was going to put it back, but then I saw my name on the page it was open to. And guys, she wrote 2 months ago about feeling overshadowed by me and how she was going to make sure April doesn't get Yale. This was before the acceptance letters even came out. She was planning to sabotage me before she even knew if she got in. When I confronted her about it, she got super angry about me invading her privacy and then somehow turned it around to be about me cheating again. Like, how does that even make sense? My social life is basically destroyed too. Some of my friends from school have been texting me asking if the rumors about me cheating are true. Apparently, Kristen has been telling people at parties. I'm so humiliated I can barely respond to anyone. I had a breakdown in Mrs. Carla's classroom after school yesterday. She let me cry it out and then told me I need to stop defending myself passively and start fighting back. And she's right. I'm done letting Kristen control the narrative. I sent an email to everyone in our extended family last night asking them to join a Zoom call this Saturday evening so I can present the truth about the Yale situation. I'm going to show them everything. The evidence, the deleted emails, the diary entry, all of it. By the way, Kristen is freaking out about this Zoom call. She tried to tell our parents it was inappropriate, but they actually stood up to her for once and said everyone needs to be there to fix things. I've also started secretly recording our conversations, which is legal in our state, I checked. And yesterday I got her on tape saying it doesn't matter if I cheated or not. I didn't deserve Yale more than her. I don't even know who my sister is anymore. How can she do this to me? We shared a womb for 9 months. We used to make up secret languages together and defend each other against bullies. And now she's the bully, and I feel so alone. But I'm not giving up. I've worked too hard for Yale to let her take it away from me. I don't care if our relationship is destroyed forever. She's the one who destroyed it, not me. Edit. To everyone asking if I've contacted the SAT testing center, yes! I emailed the test coordinator at my testing location, and she responded confirming there were no testing irregularities reported during my exam. I've added this to my evidence file. Edit 2. For those saying I should just cut Kristen out of my life, it's not that simple when you live in the same house and have all the same relatives. But trust me, once I get to Yale, I'm planning to keep my distance for a long time. Edit 3. Some people are suggesting I'm being too harsh and should try to understand Kristen's jealousy. I get it. Rejection hurts. But there's a difference between being disappointed and actively trying to ruin someone's future. And it's not like she didn't get into college. She got accepted to 3 good schools. This isn't about her being rejected. It's about her not being able to stand that I succeeded. Edit 4. Several people pointed out that my parents' behavior is enabling Kristen. And honestly, you're right. They've always been so afraid of making her feel bad that they've never really held her accountable for anything. I think they're genuinely afraid of confrontation and just hope problems will go away if they ignore them long enough. But this isn't going away, and their neutrality is just making everything worse. Edit 5. A lot of you asked if I've submitted my evidence to Yale yet. I've sent them some of it, but I'm working on putting together a more comprehensive package before the Zoom call. I want to make sure I have everything organized perfectly, so there's no room for doubt. Now for the second update. So, it's been about a week since my last update, and I'm still processing everything that happened. I'm honestly kind of exhausted, but wanted to update you guys since so many people have been messaging me asking what happened with the Zoom call. Also, thank you for all the advice and support on my last post. It honestly helped me so much when I was feeling completely alone in this. The week leading up to the Zoom call was probably the most stressful week of my life. I was so determined to make sure everyone finally saw the truth that I barely slept. I would wake up at 3 a.m. with another idea of something I could add to my presentation and just get up and work on it. My mom kept trying to get me to eat properly, but I just couldn't. Food tasted like nothing. I reached out to the SAT test proctor at my testing location. She confirmed in writing that there were no testing irregularities during my exam and that the testing center had strict protocols that were followed. I cried when I got that email because it felt like actual proof from an outside source. I also contacted Yale's investigation team directly instead of just waiting for them to contact me. I sent them a file with everything. All my study materials, my practice tests, the tutoring receipts, statements from my study group, everything. I even included screenshots of texts where I tried to get Kristen to study with me. The Yale person who responded seemed impressed with how organized everything was. I sent the same package to my entire family the night before the Zoom call so they could review it beforehand. Kristen was angry about this. She came into my room yelling about how I was making everything worse and how I should just let it go. She said she wasn't going to join the call, but our parents told her she absolutely had to be there. The day of the call, I felt like I was going to throw up. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely type. I had a whole presentation ready with slides. Everyone was there. All the aunts and uncles, our grandparents, even some cousins. My dad did an introduction about how we need to clear the air as a family and then handed it over to me. I tried to stay calm and stick to the facts. I shared my screen and showed everyone the email from Yale about the investigation. I explained my study process and showed the evidence of how my scores improved over time with practice. I showed them the confirmation from the testing center. Kristen kept trying to interrupt me, saying this was unnecessary drama and that I was being theatrical. Aunt Gail backed her up, saying maybe we should focus on moving forward instead of dwelling on the past. That's when I showed them the laptop access logs, proving someone had accessed my accounts and deleted emails from Yale when I wasn't home. And I played the audio recording where Kristen says, "It doesn't matter if I cheated or not. I didn't deserve Yale more than her." The call went silent. Uncle Fred finally asked Kristen if she made up the cheating accusations. Kristen started crying without tears and said everyone was ganging up on her and that I was twisting everything. That's when I shared the diary entry. I felt bad about invading her privacy, but after what she did to me, I read where she wrote about feeling overshadowed by me and how she was going to make sure I don't get Yale 2 months before acceptances even came out. Grandma Sally told Kristen she was disgusted by this behavior. Her voice was cold. Kristen finally admitted she made up the whole thing because she was jealous and angry. She said she just wanted me to know how it felt to have something important taken away. Then she left the call. The rest of the family stayed on, with everyone apologizing to me. Aunt Gail said she had no idea it went this far. Uncle Fred looked embarrassed. My parents just sat there looking shocked. After the call ended, my phone got tons of texts from family members. Everyone was sending me apologies and support messages. My cousin Spencer called me about how proud he was of me for standing up for myself. Kristen locked herself in her room for 2 days. My parents left food outside her door, but she barely touched it. Then the best news came. Yale emailed me saying the investigation was closed and my acceptance and scholarship were secure. They apologized to me for the stress. I printed that email and hung it on my wall. When Kristen finally came out of her room, she accused me of humiliating her and turning the family against her. Then things got even worse for her. Our great-aunt Meredith is on the alumni board at Kristen's second-choice college, and when she heard what happened, she told them about the false accusations. They withdrew Kristen's acceptance because of character concerns. So now Kristen is going to community college while living with our cousin Ella. And our parents set up family therapy sessions that are so awkward because Kristen still won't fully admit what she did was wrong. She keeps saying she made a mistake, but I provoked her, or everyone's overreacting. The therapist called her out last session, and Kristen walked out. Before I left for Yale, Kristen asked if we could talk. We met in the backyard. I asked her why she couldn't just be happy for me, and she said she's always felt like the lesser twin and that everyone expected her to be more like me. I reminded her that I invited her to study with me many times, and she said she was too proud to accept help from me. I told her maybe we could try to fix our relationship someday, but only if she gets real therapy and actually takes responsibility. She asked if I would unblock her on social media, and I said that's something she needs to earn through actions, not words. She just walked away. So now I'm at Yale, and honestly, I'm doing really well. My roommate is awesome. My classes are challenging but interesting, and I've made some great friends. But I still have these moments where I just feel so sad about everything that happened. Like Kristen and I used to be so close, and now I don't know if we'll ever have a real relationship again. My parents texted yesterday saying Kristen has been asking about maybe visiting me during fall break. I'm really conflicted about it. Part of me thinks maybe she's genuinely sorry and wants to make amends. But another part of me is still so hurt and angry and doesn't trust her at all. I guess what I'm asking is it even possible to repair a relationship after something like this? Or are some things just too broken to fix? Edit. A lot of people are asking if I think my parents have really changed or if they're still enabling Kristen. Honestly, it's complicated. They've definitely been more supportive of me since the Zoom call. My dad actually called me yesterday just to say how proud he is of me, which never happens. But they're still trying to both sides the situation sometimes. Like they'll say things like, "You both made mistakes," and I'm like, what mistake did I make exactly? Standing up for myself. Edit 2. To everyone saying I shouldn't let Kristen visit me at Yale, I'm definitely leaning that way. A lot of you pointed out that the campus should be my safe space away from all this drama, and that makes a lot of sense. Also, I'm kind of worried she'd try to sabotage something else if she came here. Paranoid, maybe, but can you blame me? Edit 3. Some people are asking if I regret exposing Kristen so publicly in front of the whole family. I've thought about this a lot, and no, I don't regret it. I tried handling things privately first, and she just kept lying. Sometimes the only way to fight lies is with public truth. And honestly, it wasn't just about clearing my name. It was about making sure she couldn't do something like this to someone else in the future. Edit 4. For those suggesting I'm being too harsh by not forgiving her right away, forgiveness isn't something anyone is entitled to. And forgive and forget is toxic advice when someone hasn't even properly apologized yet. Like she still hasn't said, "I'm sorry for lying about you cheating," in those exact words. It's always, "I'm sorry things got out of hand," or "I'm sorry you felt hurt by what happened." That's not a real apology. Edit 5. Thanks to everyone sharing their own twin stories, good and bad. It actually helps a lot to know I'm not alone in dealing with complicated twin dynamics. I've gotten so many DMs from other twins who've had falling outs with their siblings and either reconciled or decided to keep their distance. I'm reading all of them, and they're giving me a lot to think about.